I've got to look at the camera and not the screen. Multi-tool blade. I looked at the screen. Multi-tool blades. In today's video, we are going to be putting some multi-tool blades to the test.
Now, we've all been in this position where we'll buy cheap blades, throw them away after a few days, but will the premium blades make a difference?
We've got a selection of wood, bimetal, and we've also got some specialist blades to put through the test to see whether they are worth that little bit more money.
So without waffling on, let's get straight to it.
Roll the intro. So one other feature I want to talk about.
And then we need to absolute tank it.
Right then, for our first test, we're going to use a couple of the more common use blades before we get onto the specialist ones. First thing we're going to do is cut a piece of 3x2 CLS. In my multi-tool at the moment, I've got a standard DIY store universal wood cutting blade. I'm going to see how long it takes to cut through this piece of 3x2 before moving on to the rapid cut from Smart. Yeah, so it cut through, it did what you needed it to, not particularly quickly, and it didn't feel great either, if I'm being honest. So now let's swap that out and put in the Smart white rapid blade. Now these blades actually claim on the box to be 2 times faster cutting. Let's see whether it really is that much quicker. Now one thing that you could also guarantee from the premium blades is that they will last a bit longer, so you're going to get more cuts out of them, which for me is always a bonus. So these actually come in 2 different sizes. Now normally I'd be using that one on this, but this is actually slightly smaller than the blade that I just used from the Universal DIY store. Right then, let's see if it is 2 times faster. I know it was a lot quicker. The biggest thing for me is it felt a lot smoother because the blade is not having to struggle so much. There's very little vibration and feedback through your arm, but that went through like butter. So test number 1, no comparison. That one, go in the bin.
They've all had the problem where we're cutting into fresh timber and we've hit a nail or a screw, which you and I both know it's very annoying. So in this multi-pack, we have a bimetal, fine tooth and a coarse tooth, meaning there's an occasion for every single cut. Now Dave has put in 3 screws, 2 nails, and we're just going to test it and to see if the blade is still of any use after this cut.
Packaging's good, isn't it?
The packaging's way too good.
So I was thinking earlier.
Now, if you're on price, this wouldn't work because it'd take you the best part of an hour to open the pack. So in this pack, you've got the bimetal wood and metal blade. It's 45mm thick, so that's something to take note. Now let's give it a whirl. May the fun commence. Let's go for it.
I mean, was you expecting that? It's an extreme test, isn't it?
Now, to take away from this, I think, yeah, we all know it wasn't going to be as fast as a recip saw, but you've got to think it's a multi-tool blade at the end of the day. Does it cut through the screws? Does it cut through the nails? And you can still use it. So we've cut through all of that, mind my fingers, created a load of smoke. Now normally we'd throw it in the bin. However, So now you know, after you've done all that, you haven't got to walk to your van, change your blade, throw that one in the bin, and in turn saves you a bit more money. I know I'm waffling here, but I'm trying to state the fact that durability-wise, that's a damn good multi-tool blade.
Right then, so those were tests with probably two of the most common uses for multi-tool blades. But what I've actually got here are some of Smart's specialist blade lines. So I'm going to talk to you briefly about what we've got, and then we're going to put a couple of them through a test as well. And I'll be honest with you, at the moment, I've got my doubts. So starting off down here, we've got a specific drywall blade. Now we all know that normal multi-tool blades don't particularly like plasterboard. This is specifically designed as a drywall blade, so not only does it not clog up and burn out when you're cutting it, but also with the teeth on the blades on this hook section, as you can see there, it means you can actually cut shapes. So if you're cutting socket boxes, if you were cutting lines, if you're cutting archways in or whatever, that blade would definitely come in handy. What we've got here is a diamond grit bricks and mortar blade. So we're going to do a test with this at a later date, purely because I forgot to bring some bricks with me, so we can't test it now. But we do think it would make an interesting test. So bricks and mortar buster blade, stay tuned for that one in the very near future. And then finally over here, what we've got is an insulation blade. Now this one is very clever because cutting PIR insulation is always a dirty job. No one likes doing it. And the worst part about it is the fine particles of dust that you get from it. Using this blade dramatically reduces any dust or debris when you cut in insulation, which again, I'm going to show you this one in another video in the near future. But the two that we are going to test today, we've got a specialist carbide tipped metal buster blade. Now this one, unlike the wooden metal, this one is specifically designed for cutting thick metal and screws. So we're going to test it out today on something pretty extreme, some M12 stainless steel coach bolts, which we know are very difficult to cut. So why not put it to the test against the best? And then finally, this is the one that I'm most curious about. So this is a silicone removal blade. Now, I don't doubt that it will cut the silicone away nice and clean, but what I do worry about is whether it will do damage behind the silicone. So this one, we're going to test out on this pre-sealed piece of timber in a moment. But before we do that, let's try the metal buster blade on a nice big chunky stainless steel coach screw. So I think before I put it into the multi-tool and try it, I just want to show you this blade. Now instantly it feels thicker, it feels heavier, and the carbide tips at the end, you can actually see the diamond coating on them. Which I think a specialist blade for cutting metal in a multi-tool is a very, very useful thing, providing it stands up to the test. Let's get it loaded and give it a try. Safety first in this one. Unlike some in the previous efforts.
We needed a fire extinguisher in the previous efforts.
Well, that absolutely flew through. So now that we've cut through the first one, without changing the blade, I'm going to go straight in and cut a second bolt, and then I'll show you a close-up of what the blade looks like afterwards. Now, I am seriously impressed by that. So now I'm going to take a little closer inspection of the blade itself. And as you can see, it's slightly worn away some of the diamond coating, but the blade itself still has all its teeth. It still looks really sharp, and I can guarantee that that would still have many more cuts in it. Overall so far, that is the biggest surprise out of the multi-tool blades.
And now for the final tester. Now I'm going to be honest, I am guilty of buying the cheaper ones. I always have been. I always said that there was never a decent multi-tool blade. And going onto the silicone scraper, now I've used these before, never got on with none of them. Have you? Genuinely, I've always hated them. I've tried them, awful. you end up digging into the material. I haven't tried this yet, and like they said on the last one, hopes aren't great. Now, as you can see from that blade, it's almost like a three-sided knife, isn't it? No time like the present. We shall give this a whirl. We'll try this on number 2 speed first. Oh, that sounds very cute. I'm gonna be honest.
Is it working?
Yeah.
It looks like it's working. You do a satisfying peel with that then.
Has this worked? You know what? I'm genuinely.
Can I have a go?
Yeah. Genuinely. Oh, I didn't think that was going to work. I started laughing about it. So smart. I really do apologise about this, but I genuinely think that thought that wasn't going to work.
I thought it was just going to destroy
you do,
the
however,
material.
Being brutally honest, you do, however, need to, and I like the design of this, you need to maintain a flat surface and take into account that you've got that nut. So you've got that nut on the bottom, so you can only go within the space of, what, 70 mil, 75 mil? So ideally, if you was cutting against something like that and you were leaning that nut on it, yeah, it's going to go in. At the end of the day, it's a blade. But I am very surprised. So
I want to have a turn.
Being honest, and it's not the through the fault of smart. But if that wasn't there, this would be.
What if they made
phenomenal.
it longer, so it was 100
If they
mil?
made a longer one, made it 100 mil, one at 150 mil, then that's incredible.
The only place you're ever going to need it is like back of a kitchen worktop or a bath seal or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking at that thinking, the lip on the bath,
Yeah.
it might just be in range. So that might be the only feedback that we've got, is if they need to make this another 30 mil longer.
Trying, honestly, it's.
Yeah, everyone needs one of these.
I didn't think
Everyone
it was
needs
work.
one of these. One of the most tedious jobs going. I got a bit carried away. But the proof is in the pudding. And there's your pudding.
So, to conclude, I always, before this video, I always went cheap. I threw away Amazon 12 to 15 pound specials. Has this changed my mind? Absolutely. Not just saying that because it's a video, but I think that Smart especially have pulled it out the bag as far as multi-tool blades are concerned.
So which one's your favourite?
I would say definitely the silicone
My
scraper.
favourite, and it's only because I've actually been using these for quite a while, is these Rapid wood blades, the white ones, because they're the ones I use the most, and they're, for me, the biggest improvement from the standard blades. I absolutely love these things, but I have been using these for quite a while. But this is only a small selection of the blades that Smart actually produce. So I think one thing that we can learn from this video is that if you see Smart on the label when you're buying your multi-tool blades, you're not going to be disappointed.
So, the best one to probably get if you wanted to test them out would be the coarse tooth, the fine tooth, and the bimetal. You get 4 blades of the coarse tooth, 2 blades of the fine tooth, and 2 blades of the fine metal.
I think we'll come to these three
This
another
will be
day
another video.
and test them out.
It would generally be interesting, as that one just looks evil.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for watching,
Thanks for watching, yeah.
and we'll see you on the next.